Good morning. Come on in. We got Kathy Davis here, and we are today is Friday, July 23rd, 2021. I'm John Lee with St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association. Miss Davis has some good information for us, so go right ahead.
Let's not necessarily characterize it as good.
Okay.
Okay, and I got to apologize to everybody right now. I don't have a lot of time today, so I'm just going to give you some stuff real fast, and I'm going to try to come back on next week. I'll let John and Lloyd know what I'm doing, but we're hoping by the end of next week, as the end of the month, to have kind of an update. As you know, every month for months, we've been expecting the moratoriums to end and that kind of thing, and they haven't, or they've extended them and that kind of thing. We're not hearing the usual whining from the tenant attorneys yet about the wave of evictions, but we, expect that to come. Okay, the big news in the city, this is the bad news. The city sheriff was taking a position, and he put it in writing, which is never smart, that if someone gave the CDC moratorium at an eviction, that he would give them 3 days to go into court and prove it up or evict them anyway. And that's not really the way that's supposed to play out. That's not the way the moratorium was written. So the Arch City got a hold of a tenant that everybody's evicted. I've evicted this tenant a bunch of times. My daughter, Chris, everybody has evicted her. And they got a hold of this tenant who was being sued by an unrepresented landlord, a pro se landlord, and took them up on a writ to the Court of Appeals. I'm sure this landlord had no idea about what to do, but they writted also the city presiding judge and the city sheriff. And apparently they've entered into some kind of consent where the sheriff has agreed not to evict anybody, not 441s, nothing, until at least the end of July. Now, we don't think that they can do that they can trot on the rest of our rights with respect to that, but we don't have a good test case yet. If we do, we might writ it. On the other hand, one more week, maybe we'll wait. We've gotten chumped on waiting before, and we've filed a couple of writs before that we haven't won on. So we're deciding which way we want to take our licking, and we don't know yet. But if you have a case in the city that's real egregious, we'd like a 441. We'd like to take a 441 up. We would consider doing that next week. That being said, I can tell you that we're crazy busy right now. And so if people don't want to spend the money or time doing that, I certainly understand. I'm going to try to come back on next Friday and give you guys another update about what's going on. If they extend it another month, we will definitely want to do it. Also in the city, I was in front of Judge Reuther this morning, in front being WebEx, and he is giving trial dates out in September. So we're seeing a big delay in trial dates. Part of this is traditionally at this time of year, going into August, there are a lot of judicial conferences, vacations, that kind of thing. I think there might be more vacations than usual because people couldn't take vacations for a while. I mean, have you tried to get a doctor's appointment? They're all gone. I don't know where they are, but they're somewhere. Some, happy doctor golf course somewhere while we all work. But anyway, in front of Judge Higgins, which is our usual judge in the city, we've been doing slightly better on trial settings, but there is this, still kind of backlog on that. We have convinced Judge Higgins, our regular judge in the city, as well as Judge Medler, our regular judge in the county, to give us in-person trial settings. That's been going well so far, but they're still somewhat backed up. And again, there's a couple of weeks in August because of judicial conference and that kind of thing that there's no availability. I have 2 evictions that are jury trials. One's an unlawful detainer, one's an ejectment. And I have jury trial dates of the last week of September and the first week of October. And I actually think, unless this Delta variant goes completely insane, that those dates are going to hold up. There was an article in one of our bar journals that I was just reading where one of the attorneys who does a lot of personal injury work says, the way to get a case to settle or to get it to move is to have it set for trial. And then people would rather settle than, go to trial. So the faster that we can get trial dates on these things, the better. In the county, well, we're trying to settle everything, but in the county, a big problem is the ERAP money. I was given a peek at some statistics the other day that I wasn't supposed to see, but I did. And so I'm going to share them with you. And apparently they got $30 million. They gave $3 million to this outfit in California, Nan McKay and Associates, that's been doing nothing. And they have given out less than $3 million in rental assistance since they got the money at the end of December. They have like $24 million left. And if I was reading these charts correctly, they don't have that much applied for. I mean, I think they're going to have a hard time spending the remaining 24 million. And they were hearing from all over that they're taking absurd amounts of time to give the money out. And they're doing things we've heard from landlords, this is all anecdotal, but landlords who say, I sent them my W-9, I sent them my this and my that. And then 3 weeks later, they came back saying, we still need this. And we had the email receipts for sending it all in. And they seem to be floundering is probably the right word. So you've got landlords who are kind of stuck. On the one hand, they'd rather get the money and maybe not put the tenant out, but this money's not coming out. The system seems to be hopelessly bottlenecked, and nobody in the media or in the county council seems to be paying any attention to that. If anybody has any good connections with the county council, you're welcome to give them my name, and I'd be happy to walk them through what's going on with that money. I think they're somewhat aware, but the tenant advocates would rather blame the greedy landlords. But, the greedy landlords basically just want their money. That's what greedy means. And, if they can get a tenant to pay, they're happy to keep them. So for the most part, we know about the problems. But for the most part, I'm kind of wondering, we had a tenant the other day that we settled the case and now they've filed to set that aside. But I asked them, because this is part of my spiel, I said, have you applied for the ERAP money? Do you need help with that? Do you need any documentation? And they said they didn't qualify because they made too much money. Now, I don't know why they weren't paying their rent. I guess they have other expenses for items that, you and I probably don't enjoy. That very expensive handbag, et cetera, the latest iPhone. But I was kind of stunned about that. I was kind of stunned that they couldn't pay rent that was less than $1,000 a month, but they made too much money to qualify for the rent assistance. Because I think the income limits, because I think they're kind of set federally, are set for like high dollar cities like New York City. I think they're pretty high, to get that assistance. So St. Charles and Jefferson seem to be fine. Federal court is fine. We're happy to see our jury trials again, because that kind of gets the whole system moving, at all levels. And I apologize that I don't have time for questions today. You can email me and I will do my best to get back to you. It's really crazy right now. I know that I was saying that, what is a 441? A 441 is the eviction that is specifically for drug or criminal activity and gets an expedited setting. And those are the people that we don't take the 441s lightly. We don't file them on everything, but when we do file them, we want the courts and the sheriff to take them seriously and help us move those people out. That's where there's drug manufacturer, crimes, that kind of thing. So I got to go, but I'm planning to come back on next week and hopefully have some more better information at the end of the month about where we're going with everything. And in the county, we're still doing evictions. So if they're not stopped there like they are in the city, and we are basically, Christine has been winning her CDC moratorium strike motions right and left. So we've been pretty successful there. So I think that's all going well. Again, I welcome your emails telling me your situations and if you've got a roadblock or if you're getting ERAP money or if you're not, how it's going with SAFER and the other programs. All that information helps me. I appreciate it a lot. And I'll see everybody in a week.
Thank you, Kathy.
Okay.
Very
Thanks,
best
guys.
to you this week.
Kathy,
Thanks.
Sorry to be so quick today.
That's okay.
Appreciate you taking your time.